What's up, uh, internet world? It's the Future Comedy Show live cast. Today we have special guest Jecorey Hawkins, all the way from Flint, Michigan. He's been a Future Comedy Show regular since about the last year and a half. He's been ripping it up. He's very good. He's very intuitive with the crowd. He's a dad, and overall, I think he's a great comic man. Introducing Jecorey Hawkins. Let's bring him on here. Boom, boom. Why is it? Why is it not letting me add you?
Oh, I'm not in there? I see
Oh,
myself.
here we go.
Oh,
Oh, there you are. There
what
it
up, other
is.
people? There I am.
So this is Jacory, how long you been doing stand up for?
It'll actually be 4 years in October. October 26th, the day before my birthday.
And would you think like you were always intuitively like you were always funny like growing up, or like was it something you developed like after some time?
No, absolutely. Growing up, I would consider myself like the funny friend in most of my groups, or the quiet person. I could be one or the other. But growing up, I would roast people because I was dark skinned in the early 2000s. So, that's
Just the
when.
early 2000s.
No. I'm saying in that time specifically, you could bully people for being dark skinned. And so I would get a lot of like people call me Flavor Flav a lot. And so I had to develop some material back then so that people wouldn't just pick on me.
Yeah, I
Just
feel that's how it was with me with the last name Ball growing up. You had to have a sense of humor, you know.
yeah, you had
Always
to really like gotta be quick with it.
They were like, "Oh, itch my ball, scratch my ball, luck my balls," all the time, dude.
Yeah,
And
no,
my boy PJ's on here. He's a rapper. He works with. He's like getting on stage with Tech Nine.
oh
Haven't
shit,
seen
that's cool.
welcome back, PJ. He's back in Saigon now. But that's sick. So people were kind of making fun of you, and you were like, "Fuck that! I'm gonna be
Yeah,
funnier than
stuff like that. Started roasting people, and then as my social circle grew, I just started to have different things to joke about. So it wasn't always roasting, but I kept that part of me like throughout all of like even now, I still roast people from time to time.
you." Yeah. Does it ever get you in trouble? Does your funny bone get you in trouble, like talking shit to people, or no?
It hasn't, but I'm not gonna rule it out because I talk a lot of shit, and so like if it ever happens, I'm prepared. Like I understand who I am as a person, but for the most part, people enjoy me, and so I try to thread that line of like, was that offensive or is he just being funny?
Yeah. Scooter said, "What up, baller? Hey, what's up, Scooter? From Ohio. This is doubt. There I go. There I go. You got taken over. I don't know why it keeps going out.
Andy can.
I don't know what's going on with my handy cam. It just keeps shutting off. So it looks like we'll have a few seconds between uh interviews or whatever. But it looks crispy as fuck. I'm looking at this. This is a nice visual. It looks visually good.
No, it looks good. It's just
But
your porn intro keep popping up.
you want to hear the funniest heckle I got last weekend?
Yeah,
This
let's hear
lady,
it.
this lady looked like a lunch lady. She told me that I look like Jan Brady. She told me like I look like Jan Brady, and she wanted to scissor me.
Oh,
It was the craziest shit.
that's a good one. That's a solid joke.
I know. I was gonna run with that, but she heckled me the whole entire show, and then afterwards gave me her phone number and was like, "If you want me to help you with material," I was like, "I'm never calling. I'm calling you collect." That's what I said. I was like,
That's funny. Hecklers are funny. I
"Yeah,"
got
because
my first heckler in the second time I went up on stage. I
what did
got
you
a
say?
heckler. I
What did the
don't
heck?
I don't remember. Like I just don't think I was doing great. And he like started talking about me being unfunny. And so I
Damn.
started roasting him. And it's like you got me fucked up. I can roast people even if my material isn't always great. I can always roast people. It was actually at a Josh Adams mic, and then
Ooh.
I went to Baker's right after that, and I got heckled again by some random drunk woman.
Is Baker's doesn't take no shit. They're like they either find you funny or they don't. They'll let you know within the first 30 seconds.
Absolutely, I'm happy I had that experience so early on. I went back and I did a lot better, but having it so early on, it's like I'm ready for anything at this point.
I love I think we talk about Baker's every time I'm on here, it seems like. But I love that place when Kool-Aid used to host it, and you would watch some of these like guys that have been doing it for like 20 years, and they'll like show up and they'll do a joke with 20 tags, and you're like, "Holy crap, I didn't know a joke could have so many tags." And if you're at home, like jokes like set up punchline, and then anything on top of the punchline's a tag. So like I'm watching this guy like do like 20 tags on. I was like, I didn't know that was even possible. So I love Baker's Keyboard Lounge.
Yeah,
We
I
got
actually never got to see Kool-Aid. I started doing comedy, I believe, after he passed away, and so I just hear about him. He's kind of like the legend that I know about from all the other people that I look up to.
all the old guys are like, yeah, dude, the legend of Kool-Aid. He was legit. He was a super great host, and the talent that would come through Baker's Keyboard Lounge on a Monday night, you never know who you'd see. It'd be all these people from, the BET specials, and you're like, whoa, what the hell, this is nuts. Like, because it's on a Monday, you in Detroit on like you wouldn't expect to see that like level of talent on a Monday. It's just
Yeah,
ridiculous. Everybody that came through there.
I heard he was like super well connected, like around, like people knew who Kool-Aid was, like outside of Michigan, and so no, it makes sense that he was able to pull in some of that bigger talent.
And so, when you first got started, who's your favorite comic? Like, who did you look up to get into it like that?
My favorite comic starting off, I always say like Dave Chappelle, just because like he's somebody that when I look at them, like see him work, it's like man, this is quite inspiring to be able to interweave so much fucking material, and so many thoughts. Just the way he goes about his shows has always been dope. But I also love Kevin Hart, and they're like so different. But it's like I love Kevin Hart because of his work ethic, and he also throws a shit ton of tags on every joke or every line. And so those I would say the main two. But I think I grew up on Kings of Comedy actually. Like that's
Really?
like the comedy show that I would rewatch as a kid and just like watch it so many times. Definitely Kings of Comedy. That was my shit. That's when I fell in love with Bernie Mac as a comedian.
Yeah, Bernie Mac. He's like a legend in Chicago.
Man,
People like talk when like people been doing comedy for a long time. They're like, I remember when Bernie Mac was here in Chicago. They'll like tell you those kind of stories. But I do. I like Kevin Hart. Did you read his book? His book seemed like it was
yeah.
had a lot
No,
of
I did. I did. Yeah.
and
I
a lot of
really,
like he
yeah,
didn't just happen overnight. Like it just was like this thing where he just kept on going and going, and there
yeah.
was a bunch of stuff that happened to him where he thought he was going to be famous and he thought he was going to make it big, and then the
The,
world
the,
pulled the rug on him.
the fucking
And
TV show he had, the pilot, he had flew all his family and friends out to see the pilot, and then it got canceled right before he was supposed to like debut it. And it was like he just kept on going. He was definitely like he went through his turmoil, but he kept on going. I can like even him driving because he was in Philly, so he would drive to like New York and all that type of shit, like on a weekly or daily basis. And it's like I get that part for sure.
yeah, and you just drive forever to get to all the shows, and yeah. Oh Jesus! Here it goes again. Here it goes, dude. I gotta figure this out. I don't know what the
It's got to be like every 3-ish minutes or something like that. Is the camera dying?
I don't know. I feel no. The camera's plugged in, so that's like the theme of this podcast is that nothing ever goes right. Like there's always like some sort of technical difficulty. It can never just be easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like you just gotta. It's, it'll just something will go wrong. If it's not the
It's funny.
microphone, it'll be the camera. Dude, get an Android. I'm actually I'm not shooting on my phone. I'm shooting on a Sony cam that's hooked up to my MacBook, and then I have my Joe Rogan mic. I'm like trying to make it like as professional as possible, but it ends up making it the worst thing as possible.
The StreamYard costs to use.
Yeah, I think StreamYard's like $30 a month, and it's pretty legit because you can put all sorts of banners. Like here, you can get tickets to our show to see Jecorey and I at mikeball.com.com. You don't have to put the Future Comedy Show on there. You can see us this weekend, Friday and Saturday, Cass City and Essexville. Tickets on my website. You can see Jecorey. He's gonna be doing some time. Man, he's came up the ranks basically. Like when you're working with me, like you kind of like start out as a guest spot, and then you like go to like a middle spot, and then you do the host, and then you feature, and like you're getting up there. Like you're in the feature spot this weekend. That's
Oh shit, Turner.
pretty exciting.
Man, I'm
Like
looking forward to it. I think this would be my like first legit feature spot with you for sure, but in general, like somebody reaching out to me to feature, I think this would be like my first time.
well, that's always good because I feel like like sometimes like that's like the you write the history and you're like, oh man, the first person that ever let me feature, it was always because you always remember that kind of shit. Like
No,
you
yeah,
remember the first
absolutely.
club to headline you, you remember the first place to let you host. You always remember all that kind of shit. And you
Yeah,
guys, anybody that's watching, if you have any questions for Chicory, just type them in. We're gonna be doing some shows this weekend. Essexville, Caseville, or Case City. You can ask him whatever you want. He's a dad. You got a kid.
You
How,
got a
how
kid.
old's your kid?
She is 3. She's
3 years
3 years
old.
old.
How
Yep,
does
yep, yep.
how does that affect your comedy? You get out still? Like you bring the baby in the car? Like
I've
what?
thought about bringing her plenty of times, but I definitely get out a lot less than I would want to due to the kid. And so if I'm not like booked on any specific week, I'll get out like once a week, hit an open mic, and I'll try to hit 2 or 3 in the night. Usually I'm out in Detroit. And that's the only place I can hit 2 or 3. But if I'm anywhere else, I'm usually just doing that mic and going home. And I just kind of bask in that until I can get up again. But definitely, it's crazy for sure trying to balance that, especially since me and my ex are no longer together, and so it's like I have to work with her schedule. It's definitely a challenge though. But every time I go out, I try to go out with the mindset. It's like, I had to leave the kid behind, so I need to, I need to show up for sure.
Yeah, that's funny because the first show that I ever had Jay Bell on, you know how Jay Bell has like 13 kids, right?
Yeah,
And Jay Bell came out to the show in Auburn, and I came out, and Peace was in the car with all his kids, like at least like 4 or 5 of them. I was like, "Holy shit, all your kids were out here!" That was on Friday the 13th. I remember that was the night that this lady died at the show. I
oh
was like,
shit,
"That's the first show that I ever did with Jay Bell," and that lady died.
she
It was
died in
so
the front row.
she was pretty much like a couple like she was just on the side. Yeah, you
He,
did Jay ever tell you that story?
he has a joke about it, and it's one of my favorite fucking jokes because he talks about how people were coming up to him after the show, and it was like, "You really knocked him dead, huh?" And like just making jokes like that, and it was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, it was too soon. They're like, "You really killed it out there." You're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." It
No,
was
that shit.
too soon. It just happened.
That's one of my favorite jokes.
Um, so PJ is asking, who are your influences? Who would you say your comedy influences are?
Comedy influences. Uh, Honestly, it would be people like for me, Josh Adams,
List.
you,
Hey.
uh, for sure, and then I'm trying to think Boogie.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Alton, man.
yeah,
I
that's
love
my
him. We gotta get him on a show here soon.
Boogie. I would say is one of the reasons that my comedy has grown like over the last year or so because he was hosting Tuesdays at Punchline,
Oh
and
yeah.
so going after Boogie because he might do 10 minutes, he might do 30 minutes, right? And
Yeah.
you have to go up still, and so just going in that atmosphere.
Dude, it's like the most janky thing ever, dude. It's so funny, but it's fine, dude. It's
But yeah,
fine.
so but going up after Boogie so many times, and it's like it helped me like it made me want to like create more material because we had some of the same crowd there. Then it also made me want to just like be in the moment a little bit more and expand and just kind of watch how he worked. So those are some of the people like off the top of my head. And of course, legends like Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle will always be inspirations. Bernie Mac, but then also I feel like his name, Ali Sadiq.
Okay.
If you ever checked him out, he has I love his how he does it for sure. Like how he tells comedy, the way he tells his stories, they can be very serious but still funny. Is definitely something to like watch and be like, man, this guy is fucking great. And then
Yeah.
honorable mention to Patrice O'Neill.
Oh yeah. That's like my uncle's favorite comic. He's like,
He
you
was
gotta
fucking
check out
hilarious.
Patrice O'Neill. Yeah, Patrice O'Neill. My uncle Scott loves Patrice. And Patrice is a killer. But
He really was.
Boogie is a master of improv as well. I seen him do a whole set. We did a show in Hemlock, Michigan, and there was like a deer head on the wall. You know what I mean? A couple deer head, and he just improv off those deer head being on the wall for probably about 45 minutes. It was incredible to watch.
No,
Uh,
his references, like his ability to be able to just look at some shit and piece it together is definitely amazing.
yeah, looks like PJ had some crowd work done on him. That's funny. He's like, he did some crowd work on me. He got me
Look,
with the crowd work.
Boogie's gotten me. The first comedy show I ever went to in Michigan, it was a Josh Adams show. He talked about me. This is before I started doing comedy. You've talked about me. Jay Will has talked about me. It's a part of the game.
It's like the initiation phase.
Yeah,
You know,
I've talked about Boogie before on stage.
it's funny like when you when you're doing comedy and you see like the same guy show up a few times, and then you know that they have that bug in them, like they have it in them that they want to. That's why they keep showing up, and you're like, why do you keep on? You know, especially if it's just like a guy, you're like, all right, this dude wants to do comedy. He's in there doing the damn thing.
No,
And
yeah,
then
it was people like that. It's like I feel like it can go either one or two ways. So like either they're going to be like really good and have a lane, or it's like they are so wild and just up there talking that it's like, look, this should be your only time doing comedy, and at least you can say you tried.
that's a hard thing about like telling people if they can do comedy or not. Because I'm always trying to be very like, hey, you can do it. But Mitzi Shore, the owner of the comedy store. She's like famously quoted as saying, "Do not encourage mediocre talent." And she said, like, you got to get those people out of the way so the people that are talented can get up on stage. Don't do
No,
that.
yeah, I
But
feel that.
then but also she's famously the person who passed on freaking Seinfeld. And
Oh shit,
Seinfeld had this big ass like beef against her for a long time, and when he made all that money, he would drive around, like they lived in the same neighborhood, so he'd like drive his fancy car and beep at her and wave like, "Hi, like I'm a billionaire now," like almost.
so she's not perfect.
No,
Yeah,
nobody. That's the hardest thing is you can't tell anybody how to do comedy or do anything because there's so many different routes and for everything like that.
yeah. There's a crowd for almost every comedian, and I will say there are some comedians who like they're like so terribly unaware though that it's like as a person you can tell that they're like comedy is not the route for them because they're not aware of the room, of the crowd, of how their jokes are even coming off. They're just up there bombing confidently. Those people, it's like those people. That's actually what inspired me to get into comedy. Like what made me actually take the first step. I seen somebody like just doing terrible, and I was like, oh shit! So you can go up there and do bad and still keep going. And I was like,
Yeah,
fuck it, I guess I'll try.
you didn't start at the keyboard lounge, did you? That's
No, no, no,
that's what because at the keyboard lounge they can take your soul, dude. I've seen people just like leave and not ever come back.
no. Not sorry. It was in Flint. I started on the my first show was a K show, A10 Improv.
Oh yeah, I love Kate.
Yeah, yeah. So she put me on just because she's a friend of mine, just in general, and so she put me on my very first show.
Yeah. That 810 improv. It's like inside of a hair salon slash. It's like 10 different businesses in one. I love that
No,
place.
it's
It's got a fence on the wall and like uh
offensive.
yeah they have like an unfinished fence and then I'm trying to think. I
You want
remember
the
it
wood
wasn't
spot?
10 businesses. They had a food business in there. They had a hair business. I think somebody was doing nails. Like
Yeah, she was in a completely different spot when I started with her. She was like
what
in
was
a
it?
there's a cafe that she was doing the shows out of.
Yeah.
The cafe
I
that's
think
not
so.
10.
It is. It was a cafe, and then they closed it down at night. And it was funny because people were like, "Are you all right?" Like they were like, because I did that the first time I did that show, I was with Jay Bell, and I ended up doing gin and my closing bit was gin and juice. I had to do that and get the hell out of there. That was
I'm
a fun
sure.
room though. They were like really good. That was like doing the circle. Like everybody sat all the way around you. That was like
Yeah,
some like doing the rounds as they call it. You had to
you know,
like make sure.
you're right by everybody. So it is a little deep in one portion, but you can walk the room and still be able to connect with the whole room.
Yeah, that place is legit. And she puts on some good shows. She put me on that I think it was like a 4th of July show. I forget
The
but
shutouts outside.
lineup. It was me, Jay Bell, Josh Adams, and man,
I
there's a
was
few
there
other.
too. I was
You
there
were on the
too.
show?
I did a
Kristen?
guest spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
I,
you were like up front.
yeah, I brought up J Bell.
I was the only white dude there. They're like,
Yeah,
"Who is this
yeah,
guy?" They almost didn't even let me in. They're like, you gotta pay to get in here." I'm like, "I'm on the show." They're like, "Yeah, right." I like pull up the flyer, like show them. I'm like, "Here's me right here, dude." Let's
That's
go.
how I feel. That's how I feel when I do shows anywhere else. a
No,
lot,
no.
a lot of shows that I do, a lot of times I'm the only black dude, and it's like, or only black person. Sometimes in the whole room, and it's like, oh man,
Well, if you do like a show in Carroll, and you're like, they know you're like the comedy guy because they're
I
like,
love
"Oh yeah,
Carol. That's one of my favorite places.
Carroll's legit. You want to come back and do a show in Carroll this year?"
Yeah, for
Yeah, we
sure.
got like 5 shows in Carroll, so I can get you on one of them.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, definitely. Shoot me the dates and I can check the calendar.
yeah, you have to check. You guys have to check out Jecorey, man. He's smooth, man, and he's young in the game. He's got a lot of time.
I,
How old
s-
are you, Jecorey?
I turn 30 next month.
30 next month. Okay,
Yep, yep,
yeah.
yep.
So
And also,
you're not the youngest, but you are young. You got a lot of time to develop, and you're
no,
already good.
yeah.
You're already good. You have what you can't teach is which is that personality where people they just like you. You know what I mean? Like you're just up there very calm and confident, where people know that they're safe in your hands. You know, they're not gonna feel like they paid a ticket for like what the fuck did I pay this $20 for? You know, they're gonna
No, I think I got comfortable on stage before comedy because I was in college. I would host a lot of events, and so after hosting so many events, and then of course going to church, I was always on stage doing plays or speeches or shit like that. After a while, it's like you all just talking. It's like this is not the worst thing that can happen in life. I could get chased by a dog. That's way scarier than going up on stage. And so, no, yeah, it's a fun time. I really do enjoy the space.
where did you go to college at? Adams
I went
College?
Yeah, so I went to college at U of M Flint. It's a
Oh, that's what's
satellite
up.
of Ann Arbor, and then
Yeah,
I
I
got my
remember you brought that chick from U of M Flint that one time to the show. She's just your friend. I thought you
yes,
guys were
yes, sir.
smashing. You guys were like, hmm.
No, yeah, just my friends. One of my best friends actually. And
Yeah.
then I got my master's at Eastern Michigan, and
Mm.
so
And what do you do
yeah,
for work? What do you do for work now?
shit, I'm unemployed right now. I got laid off in June actually, and so I've been just really applying for jobs and interviewing.
Isn't it the craziest shit when you get a master's degree and then you can't you like spend all that money and you're like, what the fuck?
Look, the craziest part is I got my master's degree in higher education, and within 2 years, I left the field of higher education because it's like y'all don't pay shit. I have a kid I need to take care of.
Yeah. I mean, would you is doing comedy full time like something you want to do? Like, is that like your
Yeah.
aspirations like in the plan? Like, do you have a plan like within a certain amount of years you're trying to do comedy full time or?
So I don't have a timeline set for it right now because really my goal every time I hit the stage is to get to a certain point with my funny. Because there's like, there'll be shows where I do pretty good or people will be like, I did great, but it's like I'll walk away, but like, there's something that I'm, I didn't like about that. And so I'm trying to really craft it and then start to plan out the future of it fully. But right now, I just really want to get to that, like, hey, that guy's hilarious and everybody feels that way type shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Melissa Ann, she's a teacher. I know her. She's one of my favorites. She said, "Education is tough, bro. Stick it out. You got this." And Melissa knows she's in the education game. I mean,
You know?
but now, so I just got to touch the screen. It's like a funny thing. Like if you had a choice and it was comedy or education, and somebody gave they were gonna pay the same, what would you do? Would you do comedy or would you be a teacher?
Comedy easily, for sure.
Okay.
Because, I enjoy the learning and the building in comedy. That's something I can continue to strive to get better in. Education was cool for sure. But even before, like when I left education, I started to work in the tech market. And so like I doubled my salary when I switched fields. And so going back to education would be just that would be like a not a happy moment because I know the money that's out there also.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of money out there. It's gotta be like abundance mindset. You just gotta be like, all right, how am I gonna get it? And
Yeah.
I mean, and you definitely have what it takes to do it in comedy. It's just kind of finding the niche of how you're gonna do it because there's no right way.
Yeah,
And like, I can't tell you how to do it. And
there's
yeah,
no specific path to this shit.
like my buddy Andy Beningo, he does church. He just, I mean, you could do this because you come from a church background, but he does all churches, and he tells me that they pay awesome. You go do these churches and get good money because everybody's kind of thrown in on it. They're like, all right, whatever, we'd like to do. So that maybe that is a route for you.
Maybe I think I'm open to like any route when it comes to comedy and figuring it out. But I think it all comes back to that skill portion, at least for me. Like build that skill and the rest will start to figure itself out. I'll start to put the pieces in together. I definitely would like to do more church shows just so I can work on some more clean material. I did my first church show live like 2 weeks ago, actually. And it was cool. I did really good, but like about 6, 7 minutes in, I was like, I really don't have a lot of material for this space. So I did some crowd work to fill in some of that gap. But just knowing that in the moment, it's like I can't cuss at these people.
That is that's like when you figure out you're like, I don't have anything clean. You're
Yeah,
like, oh, I gotta clean it up.
gotta
And I mean,
clean
there's
it up.
a few comics that really made a living being clean comics, like uh, Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey being a pretty Christian, clean comic. I mean, for the most part, in the ender phase, like
Okay.
Family Feud and doing that kind of stuff. You think was he
Yeah.
dirty earlier in his career or no?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have you ever watched Kings of Comedy?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of Kings of Comedy.
Oh wow,
I've
really?
seen some of it. I've seen some of it, but I'm not. I can't remember Steve Harvey.
Yeah, he
Actually,
was he was the host for it.
I was just talking about the first comedy that I ever really watched and really liked. There's a guy named Pablo Francisco. You ever heard of him?
The name sounds vaguely familiar.
Oh, if you got a second, watch Pablo Francisco. His Comedy Central presents. So fucking funny, dude. This guy. It's an old clip. But that's the first one I watched. And then I grew up on watching Cat Williams. Remember when Cat Williams was the shit?
His debut,
Ballin'. I mean, he's
that
still really funny, but there was like a time that nobody could beat Cat Williams.
yeah,
Cat Williams, the
that
shit.
that fucking green suit special, that it was very first special. That shit was definitely like chef's kiss. He puts that together perfectly.
When he was making the fries and shit with the music, he's like,
Yes, he
dude, I was
did.
like, oh
He
god,
did. I think my favorite joke in there is he was talking about like if somebody paid him to be a grocery shopper, like Rick Ross or some shit, and he
Mhm.
played the hustling music in the
Yeah,
background of
that's what I'm
him
talking.
shopping. It's like that shit was perfect.
Yeah, Cat Williams back in the day. I mean, Chappelle's old special with that baby that was selling weed or whatever. And he
Mhm.
got to oh my god, dude, those are the days. Those were the days. Ah,
And
but I wonder if that's how I'm gonna be like now that I'm older. I'm gonna be like, stand up's not the same. You kids won't know what we watched when we were kids.
I
Now I
think
could.
I think it depends on how you grow, because I feel like even some of the older comics now, there's like a good bunch of them that are pretty cool about like where comedy is. They're just like, they're rolling with the flow of it themselves and just building. I feel like even Cat Williams is like that, and like, he's talked about in a couple of interviews, like you kind of got to go with this shit and figure it out.
Cat, man, Cat in the Hat. That bro, oh that dude, hey, he cracked me up. Cat
No,
Williams.
he definitely was. He was
No,
somebody that what the fuck was I can't remember what it was called, but I watched it so many times.
what was that?
The first Cat Williams special because it came out on HBO, and
Yeah,
that's when
Cat.
On Demand was popping.
That's the shit, dude. Okay, so here I go. That's gonna be the most. That is like the editing version. I'm gonna. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out one of these days. I don't know why it was going off. Anyways, um, hey, so if you had uh, if you had $1 million, what would be the first thing you bought?
Like not including paying off my debt.
Yeah,
First thing I would buy, it, man, what would be the first thing? Probably a house.
get a house.
Pay
Yeah,
that
hell yeah,
bitch out in cash.
hell yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. And what's one thing you want to achieve in comedy? What's one thing that you'd be happy if you achieved it?
It's actually a bunch of things. But let me see off the top of the head. I really want to go on SNL one day, like as a guest, like as a we're bringing this guy on because he's so funny.
Dude, that'd be sick. That'd be sick to get on Saturday Night Live.
I feel like that's like a moment where like there are so many other things in place that you've reached like another level in the shit.
That's what's up. What's up, Ashley? What's up, Heather? Thanks for popping in. We're here with Jecorey Hawkins. We're doing two shows this weekend. One in Essexville on Saturday at Center Road Bar, and Friday in Cass City at Gilligan's Pub. Tickets on my website, www.mikeball.com. Check it out. Get tickets. See Jecorey. See myself. I got some new jokes I've been working on. I've been working on some new shit. Come see the action as it goes. We have good lineups this weekend. And some up and coming. We got Stephanie Ann, who's this dirty chick. I mean, she's not like dirty. She don't smell bad. She's like a dirtier comic. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be like, oh shit. You're like, I can't believe that sweet little lady said that. And
Yeah, she's pretty raunchy.
then we got Dave Klickner gonna be doing Essexville. He's developing really nicely, and boom, 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 and then
And isn't it Bill
Billy,
on the other one?
Billy, yeah, Billy Chapman. He's gonna come up. Billy Chapman's like this. He is old man. He kind of looks like uh, Jeff Dunham's puppet, the grumpy old puppet. But he's super nice, dude. You'll like him. Ashley says, "Wish I didn't have to work Friday so I can come watch your show." Ashley, you got the COVID. Come on in. You got COVID. Call in. Boom. 7 days off of work. You can come watch the show, or you
I
come
don't
into
think
Essexville.
I don't think they're giving 7 days off for that shit anymore.
No, they don't give a shit no more. They're like, all right, take some cough medicine. We'll see you in the office.
Nah, dead ass. It's really crazy. Like we were really shut down over that shit. Now people be outside with COVID. Like it's like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, people aren't really they're not subscribing to it this time around.
No. So they're just gonna let everybody die.
Yeah, it's tough business. Tough business to be in. The world's a risky place.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I tell everybody. You gotta live your life because life's not guaranteed.
Nope. Even if you're spreading a disease,
Even if you're spreading disease, you gotta wrap
Magic
it up.
Johnson.
Wrap it up before you tap it up. That's what's up.
Mike, how do you come up with new material?
I usually so what happened to me is something funny will happen in my life, and I'll be like, oh, that's good, and I'm like, I gotta add that, or I'll be at a show and then something funny will happen, and I'll say, oh, I like that, I'm gonna add that to my repertoire. Can't do that. I work at a hospital. Can't do that. That's funny. Can't. Yeah. Can't do the COVID trick if you work at the hospital. They probably don't give a shit anyways. After all that. But I just work at and I write every day pretty much.
Oh
But
shit.
I don't write jokes. I just write in my journal. So I'm just like, I just write in my journal and I say, oh, this is what I do. So I'm like subconsciously always coming up with material and always writing down my thoughts. So they stick in my head, and then eventually what happens is something happens at a show where I can take it out of my file system and be like, oh, I got a little bit about that I was thinking about, and then I'm seasoned enough to kind of make something happen out of it, something out of nothing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes a lot of fucking sense.
What about you? What do you do?
It really depends. A lot of times it'll be like similar, like something funny will happen, or just something will happen that I find funny, and I'll put a note in my phone. That's what I would normally do,
Oh,
and or do a voice recording. Like if a punch comes to my head, if a punchline comes to my head, I'll do a voice recording. But a lot of times if it's just random moment or a random premise that flies through, I'll write it down on my notes, and then I'll just look at it a few times until I can try it out on stage. And really, that's how I like to start to figure it out. Like, where is this? Like, is this anything? Do I need to get rid of it? And then one of the best ways, like the most efficient ways, is watching clips. Like watching a recent show that I did and just kind of going through. It's not always new jokes, but it's like just building on those jokes that I already have and seeing where I can cut pieces off.
Writing tags, yeah, there's like always. You can always write some more tags, and that's always like a brilliant thing. Like when you like have a joke for a long time, and then you get a new joke, and you're like, oh, I can intertwine this one. You can like piece them together like a little Lego set. You put them in.
Yeah,
and
no, absolutely. Now it's a whole new joke.
Yeah. You never, and the jokes are always evolving. It's pretty sick. So you've been doing comedy 4 or 5 years now, and you're a single dad. Are you cleaning up on the road at all, or what? You telling these people that you're looking for a stepmom, or what do you do?
No, not cleaning up on the road. Nah, I don't have any comedy horrors that like are throwing me any vagina. Any of the women that entertain me are like people that I already know, and yeah. So I'm not looking for a stepmom for anybody right now. I'm trying to get my shit together before I even think about that. But I whore from time to time for sure. But it's all at home. It's like I know these people in my personal life. I might bring them to a show or invite them to a show, but they're not fucking me off of comedy. Unfortunately, I don't got the juice like you.
Well, I got a girlfriend now. I'm retired out of the game. Out of the game, dude. Retired, dude. I remember back in my day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you were a whore.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, right, dude. I was a fucking relationships only. That's how I do it. One woman man. Because
not,
that's I don't know. I mean the road. I mean I had fun. Every horse has got to retire someday though. Like you
I'm
can't be on
ready
the
to
road
retire.
forever. I got a good girlfriend now, man. I love her, dude. She's fucking awesome.
That's
She's
cool.
sweet. She's sweet. So I gotta live through you guys now. I'm like cheering you guys on. I'm like, hey, get it,
I,
buddy.
I don't enjoy being a whore that much. Oh, her comment came back.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I don't really enjoy being a whore that much because I was in a relationship with my ex, my child's mom. We were together from like fucking 2013 uh, up until last year. Really, that's like when we like fully cut everything off, and so that's like a big portion of my life. I'm used to relationships, so like being a whore is really it's new territory for me.
new thing.
And it's
You're
like
like
I'm
these
bored.
girls trying to get it on you on the road. You're like, wait, I'm not just a piece of meat.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, so don't treat me like a slut. Even though I am a slut, don't treat me like I'm a slut. Like,
Oh, you're in Caro. They're like, oh, this exotic piece of meat right here. You're like,
I'm
no.
offended. It's like, oh my God. Actually, Carol, they tried to kill me. I want to say my first time I did Carol, because after my set, they bought me like 3 or 4 tequila shots. And their tequila
Oh,
shots they're not shots. They're like double or more. And it was just like, I'm not drinking all this. I just poured the rest into my water bottle. And I was like, I'm not drinking this, guys. I need to drive.
oh yeah, it's a good idea. That's why I quit drinking. I got a DUI after a show. Friggin' listening to Ted Nugent Stranglehold in the parking lot, and friggin' got pulled over in a parking lot. I wasn't even driving. And after that, dude, I talked to my boy Mitch Gill, and he said, "Hey, buddy, you should quit drinking and just focus on comedy." And that's what I did. And now I'm over 7 years sober, and it does help. It's funny when I talk to people that are like sober. They're like, "Oh my, yeah, my life's a lot better now that I have a savings account." Like people are like because people don't because they can save their money. They don't just blow it all. Because that's what happens. You start drinking, and then what? Good time Charlie hits you. You're like, oh, you're feeling good. You're buying people drinks. You're like, oh, whatever. Go to the strip club. Some girl tells you think that she loves you, and then you got a future. Then you hand her over a couple $100, and then
Like, I don't like how you generalize that for the rest of us.
I feel like I've seen that story time and time again.
Now, usually when I go out, comedy show or just out in general, I have like a 1 to 2 drink maximum. And the only time I'll go over that is if I'm like going out specifically drinking with friends. But even then, it's like I'm not. I don't ever go over 4 drinks while I'm out. I don't go over 4 drinks ever because like I still want to get home. It's like that's really like that's usually my focus when I'm doing shit. It's like I'm trying to get back to the crib as safely as possible.
See, that was the one. See, I slowed down. Comedy probably saved my life because I used to drink it like it was a sport. I was like, all right, we're gonna go get fucked up. We're gonna get a 30 pack, and before we're gonna go out, we're gonna drink a few before we go out. And then we're gonna have a few at the bar, and then we'll have a few when we get back. And
You're a
I mean,
dangerous man.
it was a wild. My friends that I used to hang out with back in the day were wild. They were the wildest people. Like, I mean, literally, man, I feel like I can't even incriminate them. I can't even put it on the. I can't even put them on the live cast because they probably get. I mean, it's probably past the thing too, but I know these people have parents. Their parents don't want to hear about the crazy shit they did.
Past the statute of limitations.
Yeah, it's past the statute of limitations, but I mean, they did some crazy shit. I'm like, oh, I mean, just fucking a menace to society, man. That's what my group of friends were back in the day. Menaces to society.
I don't
So
have any
hopefully,
real crazy drinking stories.
oh, dude. Okay,
No,
speaking of, look at Hassan. Hey. There's my buddy Hassan, the fucking one of the craziest ones of them fucking all. That's like the Middle Eastern Kanye West right here, Hassan, right
that's
there.
fucking scary.
Dude, he was wild. Hassan was a wild boy. He said I wasn't, but that boy was a wild boy. That he used to run Saginaw back in the day. The DJ, he's a DJ. It's so funny when you like freaking when you like all grew up together and you like just fucking partied. Hassan was the DJ. He'd get people all fucked up. People want to drive around. Look at this. Yeah, look at that. Look at, Taylor Swift didn't think so. That's funny. Yeah, it's funny. One time I called him the Eastern Kanye West. He's have this like slick back hair, right? Real suave guy. And he goes, "I can't be the Middle Eastern Kanye West. I love Taylor Swift." And I was just like, "Oh my god, we were all dying." Oh, here's my brother Jake. My brother's in here. He was a menace as well. Yeah, especially my brother, fucking Jake. Jake the Snake threw his bike in the lake. Fucking, that was a piece of cake. That's a story right there. Um,
Was that rhyme original or is that like a nursery rhyme? The fuck was that?
I, I used to rhyme. So my brother got in trouble for throwing a bike in the lake,
Oh
and
shit.
and like it was like the stupidest thing to get in trouble for, right? Like he got in trouble for littering the lake. They like wrote him a ticket and like made him like do community service or something like that.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
so I would always like talk to him like, "Hey, what's up, Jake? Who threw his bike in the lake? He made a mistake. Now he doesn't get no cake." And I just rhyme everything with Jake for like 8 hours.
That's
Uh,
fucking insane.
Scooter says, "Love you and I'm proud of you." Thanks, Scooter. Scooter is a menace to society. Talking about a menace to society, we took Scooter out to the Virgin Islands, and oh my gosh, he uh, he was a menace to society. So this lady who booked us for the show was trying to take us out to dinner, right? This expensive dinner right on the ocean, and it was like he's like, "No, I got it," and she's like, "No, I insist, I got it. Like I'm trying to like do something nice for you," and he's all drunk already. He's like, "No, I got it," and then he looked at the bill and he's like, $500. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh," he's like, "I got it." Like his whole attitude. He's like a little tear came down. He's like, "I got it."
That's funny as hell.
Um,
I feel like my menacing times was before, like when I was extremely young, bored in the neighborhood, just finding shit to get into. That's when I was a menace to society. And then I got in trouble and changed my life.
it doesn't. That's what happens. You get that wrist slap, and you either change it or you don't. You know
You
what I mean?
jump in it, either change or jump into it.
Either change or you learn in jail. You're like, all right, next thing I'm gonna get into with my new jail friends.
Absolutely. But yeah, that shit happened was I got in trouble like my going into my sophomore year of high school. It wasn't even in real trouble. It was just like I had a run in with the police, and I was like, I don't want to do that ever again. And so I overall avoid police. I got in a couple tickets for speeding, but outside of that, I'm a good guy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
Overall, on
See,
most
I remember
days,
my buddy PJ's on here right now. So I got in trouble. I got in trouble like in high school because this girl's parents was looking for her daughter, right? And her daughter was friends with my girlfriend at the time. So they showed they showed up at my house, right? They showed up at my house looking for their daughter, and I was like, she's not here, and she wasn't. And they drove through my like newly sodded grass and like put big divots in my grass, right? And my dad got home and he was like pissed. Hey, he's like, "Hey, who drove through the yard? Like, what dildo drove through my yard?" And I'm like, "I know who did it, right?" So I call him up. I call up the parents and I say, "Hey, when you're looking for your daughter, you drove through my yard and you left big divots in the newly sodded grass." And I could I could hear the parents in the background like being like, hang up the phone." So my friends and I were like, "All right." We're like, we're gonna get him back. So we went to McDonald's and we grabbed this big bag of trash and we made some works bombs and we like put them like we got all black on and we threw these work bombs in their yard and like threw trash everywhere and it blew up. It was like boom, boom, boom. It was like big shot like shotgun noises, right? Not gonna hurt nobody. It's just just a little works bomb or whatever. But some the cop they knew who it was. They knew who we were because they seen us go through the drive-through and not order anything, and there was a cop in the drive-through lane, and they like put it like all the clues just led back to us, right? Like it was like a whole like easy investigation, right? and the cops came to my house, and the lights are going on, and my dad's never home, right, on the weekends. And I said, guys, PJ was there, the guy who did the Tech Nine. I was like, hey guys, like, if I said they can't come in if we don't let them in, so we'll just sit here, we'll just chill in the room, we'll keep the lights off, they'll go away, it'll be fine. My dad shows up, first time ever, and I could hear him outside, and he goes, oh, well, what are you guys doing? Okay, come right this way. So like we all like run to the back, right? We like run to the back trying to escape out the back door, and they're like looking in the trash, and they like seen all like the works containers. We're like, oh shit! Then we run the other way, and like they're going through the front door, and then like we're all in the bathroom, and then we're all in the bathroom. We're stuck in the bathroom. We can hear him coming, and like my dad knocks. It's like the most awkward thing. All three of us are in there, and they're like, hey, somebody's here for you, and I'm like, oh no, and then I got this, guys. I got it. So like, I think I know why you guys are here, right? To the cops. I'm like, I think I know why you're here. And PJ was like, yeah, we put the trash, but we didn't do the works bombs. And I'm like, no, PJ, no. And they like immediately knew it, and they gave us I got in trouble for littering on private property, like my brother Jake. And then they made me do go to anger management. Maybe go to anger management. And you know what my nickname in anger management was?
What?
The Hamburglar.
That's funny as fuck.
Yeah, dude, they were like, oh, like, because people were in there like for like some serious, like they like seriously had some anger problems. Like I remember this one guy in particularly. He was like, he like threw his lamp, right? He threw his lamp, and he had to go to anger management. Like the police were called, and he's like, I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I broke my own lamp. I broke my own fucking lamp, dude. Why can't a man break his own fucking lamp? I'm like, all right, dude. And they're like all handing out Xanax underneath the tables and shit. I'm like, oh my
Oh
God.
shit, that's a real white boy story, Mike.
Oh, dude. Well, now you guys know. And I'm not. And I took the anger management class, and now
You're not angry anymore.
I'm not angry no more. I'm just a hamburglar.
Fucking, that's funny as hell.
Yeah, I should bring that story back, but I gotta punch it up a little bit. It needs a little bit of work. So you just got pulled over? That's the only thing you ever got in trouble for?
In like my adult years, yeah. Trying to think, parking tickets, speeding, nothing else. Really, I've been chilling. Uh, I've been at parties that got shut down by the police. That could have went bad. I think the one of the worst moments I ever seen at a party was I was pulling up to a house party because I got there late. And as I was pulling up, I seen a police officer walking in there with a shotgun in his hands. And I was like, oh, the fuck is happening, guys? I was like, I'm
Oh,
leaving. I left. I was like, I'm not coming. Y'all got to let me know how everything went. But outside of that, nope.
that reminds me. This one time I was at a house party in Carlton, Michigan, and we're in this house party, right? And the cops came, and they were knocking on the door. So everybody went to the basement, right, with the lights off. There's like 60 people in this basement with the lights off. Everybody's dead silent. There's nobody in the top of the house, right? And somebody lets the cops in, and the cops are like You can hear the cops like walking upstairs, like just walking around, like, and the cop. Oh man. And they make their way down to the basement, right? And they flick the light on, and there's just 60 kids just standing on the wall like this, like, oh, and the cop was the funniest cop ever. He was like, listen here, you're not gonna turn my city into a bar. And he's just like all like just like giving us like a whole like talk about it. And the funny thing, Carlton is just basically a bunch of bars. That's what the city is. Like it,
Yeah,
it
that's
is
funny.
that is what it is anyways. And but luckily nobody got in trouble. They made us just all go home. It was easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Yeah, I don't know. I make it like a personal goal to avoid police. I got pulled over coming from a show from you one day. I think was it the Carol show? I feel like I got pulled over coming from a Carol show. The first one I did. It was like, man, I'm just trying to get home. I'm tired. I almost hit a deer. It was like, I'm just trying to get home, man. Yeah, I'm speeding. There's fucking deers out here.
There's deers out here. Yeah. Did you get a ticket or no?
No. I haven't gotten a ticket in a while.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood.
yeah, knock on the wood. I mean, that's hard. That's the hard thing about being on the road all the time because you're driving all these miles. Eventually, you're gonna get caught for speeding a little bit or having a
Yeah.
tail light out or a headlight or.
I try to speed in groups so that I can get away with it longer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Yeah, I went a long time without getting pulled over, and then I like ran like I had like a run of luck this year. I've been pulled over a bunch of times, but only one ticket.
It's because you're a
Only one
criminal.
ticket. What?
You're a criminal, Mike.
I'm reformed.
You're a
I took
reformed
the
person.
classes, dude. I'm no longer the hamburglar. That's the thing. But you gotta live and you learn. I was just a kid
Right.
with a bunch of zest, bunch of piss and vinegar.
Piss
I
and
don't know.
vinegar.
I don't know why I was like so mad. Like mad. Like that's the funny thing. I was so mad about the lawn, and then I ended up running a lawn service. So like the lawn meant a lot to me for some reason.
That
Like,
shit stuck in you. So, bitch, this is newly sodded fucking grass. Like, why would you do that?
well, it doesn't make no sense to even do like to be like that. Like to drive through somebody's yard. Like I
Yeah,
didn't do nothing to you.
man, yeah,
I
that
don't know
as
what you're doing.
adults, as
What?
adults, they should have been ashamed.
They should be. They should be. But I'm the one that got in trouble. And you live in the you learn. You can't get retribution. That's the thing of it. You
Can't get
learned.
caught, Mike. That is the true retribution. That's the truth.
Yeah, that's probably more the truth. But I don't even, dude. I don't get bothered no more. Things don't bother me no more. Like
Yeah,
when shit happens, I just let it slide off these shoulders. I say, all
man.
right, on to the next. Uh oh, what happened? We're both gone.
We are. I'm still
Yeah,
here on
we're
mine.
both. Oh, okay. I'm loading in. I'm loading in. Okay. I don't know what's happening. You guys have any questions? If anybody's got any questions or concerns, this is Jecorey Hawkins, man. He's smooth on the mic, smooth like butter. He's been at Planet Fitness. He's been working out. He said he ain't on the road and getting none of this road puss, but he's been working out just in case, just in case he
Just
gets,
in case. So,
you
man,
know.
just in case one
That's
of these. Mike, how do you find these random white cities? Like, do you just drive through these places and be like,
I'm
that
in the
looks like a
club,
great
dude.
spot for a
All
show?
my all my friends are white, dude.
Yeah, but like
Double,
this. So, but you're from Saginaw, right?
yeah.
How the fuck do you make it to Essexville and Carroll?
That's only like 20 minutes away. It's not that bad. It's like just like farm towns. But like that's like Flint. Like Flint has like Swartz Creek, Davison, then you got like I'm all those little sub cities. So I'm like the Saginaw version of those.
But you're in Sports Creek too, though. So it's like,
Yeah. But I've also been doing comedy for 11 years. So it's like I mean after a long time you meet so many people. You know what I mean? But you know what we should do? We should do a show in Flint. We should get a weekly show in Flint.
a weekly show.
Yeah. There's so
We
much I mean between there's a lot of talent in Flint. We could do a weekly show.
I don't know if there's enough talent for a weekly show. That would be a proper show. You know, in my opinion, just from we probably have like six, seven comedians who do anything, any version of regular. And you know, you got Big Juicy, of course. Like she's out there. Big Juicy's always doing some shit. Uh, well, you have RJ who does things from time to time, but he's fucking sickly. Um,
He's
she,
sickly. Is he not doing
yeah,
good?
no, yeah, check in on him for sure.
Oh no, what's happening? Oh, okay. Oh shit, we don't want to put his news out
No,
there. I,
he's recovering, but he's just this the year has been rough on him for sure.
yeah,
And so I don't know if you met Cheese Sticks at least once.
yeah. Cheese Sticks was on the show, that Fourth of July show, or
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
or Memorial
Memorial
Week, Labor Day.
Memorial weekend. So
One of
he's
the, it was
doing
one of the
stuff.
holidays.
We got what?
Oh,
Jane
he froze up. We're
again?
freezing up here. at Minute 53. Oh, you're back. You froze up there for a second, Jecorey.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening. But
Dude, this is a long podcast. We're crushing this. Usually we do about like 30 minutes. We're almost to an hour.
it's because you got a crush on me, Mike.
Hey, you're a good looking dude.
Appreciate it. I know I'm
Yeah.
your favorite black guy right now.
Hey, Chuck would be pissed if you heard that. Chuck would be like,
Chuck
hell
is
no.
fucking hilarious, man.
I love Chuck, dude. Chuck's my
Chuck,
boy.
having those moments with Chuck after the show made me look at that man completely different. Because he's
Yeah,
not a real person. I don't think. I don't think Chuck is a real person. Outside of comedy, it's like I don't think he does anything. I think he just goes to like a chamber and sit there. And he
bro.
walks out the chamber for shows and goes back.
Dude, Chuck is the shit, bro. I love Chuck because Chuck's like so down with the future comedy show. It's so funny, man. He like he's just down to ride like Tupac style. He's just like he's like, hey, let's go. But
I
the
guess like that.
funniest thing about Chuck is that he's like always like remodeling his house and stuff. So he's like getting like vines and shit, and he like show me, he'd be like, oh yeah, I got these new vines for the house, and he'll like tell me like, oh, I got a new little mini fridge. He's like a real life bachelor, right? He's got Pac-Man and shit. He's like, oh yeah, You can't beat me in Pac-Man. I like went over there and set the high score real quick. Let
That's
you know we
fucking
did
crazy.
that shit. But yeah, and Chuck, Chuck works at Fabiano's, right?
What's Fabiano's?
It's like it's like a distributor for a beer.
Oh
But yeah,
shit, I did not know that.
so he gets like all these like free Red Bulls and shit. So Chuck's the Red Bull hookup. Like he always has a Red Bull for me every time I come over. It's like, oh hey dude, he's like, check what's in my fridge. I got a Red Bull right here.
Chuck is just he's an interesting human. That's what I mean. When I was just sitting there, he would just bring up topics that nobody else were talking about, and he would bring it up in the middle of the topic. He wouldn't like introduce us. He'd just be like, "Yeah," and I just told him, "I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, Chuck?" Like
Chuck's one
nobody,
of one. He's one of one. Nobody like Chuck.
no,
There ain't
nobody like Chuck.
nobody like Chuck.
Nah, never. I would never meet anybody else like that man.
Yeah, Chuck, and dude, he's a good dude. He's a good dude to have in your corner. I'll tell you that. Friggin', he's a hoss, big hoss, bro.
Big hoss.
He is, man. That guy can move steel. But hey, man, we're at 55, dude. I think we've been killing it. Hey, people are watching, dude. 10 people. That's like PBS numbers. What up, guys? Thanks for watching, guys. Once again, come see myself. I'm gonna be in Essexville, and Jecorey will be there. Friday, Saturday. Oh, there she goes again. Friday and Saturday. Friday in Cass City, Saturday in Essexville. Check out the show. The quad. Hello from the Quad Cities. Okay.
What's the
Where's
Quad
the
Cities?
Quad Cities? I'm from the Tri Cities. The Quad City. That sounds familiar. Tell us, Christina, where the Quad Cities are. But yeah, come see Jecorey and myself. 2 shows this weekend. Thursday's already sold out. Friday and Saturday, Essexville. It's on the bottom. Check it out. Get on my website, www.mikeball.com. Get some tickets. PJ, get some tickets. Hassan, let me see you, man. Come out. Let me see the women in here. Ashley, you can't make it. Heather, come out. Heather, I haven't seen you in a show in a long time. Come out and hang out. JP, come out. David, come out. Appreciate you guys all watching. Hey, Jecorey, thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
I see big things in your future. Let me manifest this right now. Give Jecorey another 5 years. He'll be headlining all over the place.
I appreciate that, bro.
This guy's gonna just needs a little time in the oven, and he's gonna be like ready to go. He's got the raw materials. He just needs to bake a little bit, and he'll be there. I'm calling it now. I see shit all the time where I'm like, oh, Iowa. Christina from Iowa. What's up? Okay. We were just in Iowa. We had a fun show in Bettendorf, Michigan, man, where they had it's like a little, it's like 4 cities quadrant they're put together. Only thing open that late at night after the show was Taco Bell. It's a pretty good time. But anyways, I ain't gonna keep you, dude. I know you got a kid. You got a kiddo over there, and I'm gonna get ready for the show tomorrow, and I'll see you Friday and Saturday. Thanks for watching, guys. Any last words, Jecorey?
Appreciate you, Mike, as always. Put me on the shows. Look, you're an inspiration, man. Keep doing the damn thing.
Peace.